Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
The return of Jose Aldo, right? The King of Rio. He's returning in Rio. I don't know the stipulations around the fight, but I'd figure that this might be his last fight on his contract, or he's fighting out his contract. I have no idea. Maybe he's coming back to fight again to chase out the title. I haven't really been reading into it too much, but he's back, right? And originally this fight was supposed to be against Dominic Cruz.
Oh, it was Aldo and Cruz?
Yeah, this is the original matchup, but Cruz, for some reason, couldn't make the fight. So that's why they put Jonathan Martinez in there. Huge opportunity for Jonathan Martinez.
Yeah.
He's the favorite heading into this fight, of course, because he's on a win streak. You know, he's been fighting and training MMA. We don't know what Jose Aldo's been doing because he was boxing.
He had 3 boxing fights.
Yeah,
right?
3 boxing. So he was boxing. And he's 37 years old. Martinez is 30 years old. Yeah, there's a lot of things stacked against Jose Aldo, right? So let's jump into Jonathan Martinez and look at his history a little bit. 19-4 record, training out of Factory X. And,
2 leg kick finishes, right?
Leg kick finishes. He's only 30 years old. 6-fight win streak. That's pretty incredible for the bantamweight division. Wins over Adrian Yanez, Said. That was the big fight right there when he beat Said. I don't know how to say the name.
Yeah.
And then he beat Cub Swanson with leg kicks as well, which was crazy.
His last loss was a while ago.
Davey Grant. It was
an
overhand left. And Davey Grant's known to do that to everybody, where he just loses fights and then
wins. When I train with Davey, he's got stone hands. He's not even trying to hurt you, but he's hurting you. And I'm like, ow! And he's like, oh, sorry, pa, sorry. So I understand that, but yeah, I mean, so I think one thing that's really interesting is just with the leg kick finishes, it kind of reminds you of old school Aldo, and so. It's sort of like almost like, I wouldn't say Aldo fighting himself, but kind of in a way, like fighting a new version of, you know, someone that's gonna go in there, look for the leg kicks, like kind of box up leg kick and do that whole game. And I don't know, man. We haven't seen Aldo play that leg kick game in a long time.
Oh, for sure. Like the people would say that he's not kicking.
Yeah.
Because they're so used to him being this guy that kicked the legs, but he hasn't been kicking. I don't even think he's gonna really kick that much in this fight.
No, I bet you he's gonna be checking and just trying to box through everything.
He's gonna be checking everything.
Yeah.
There's Jonathan Martinez, man. Like, he is on such a roll right now. And he's a guy, I've interviewed Jonathan Martinez before. He's so shy, dude. It's like his interviews are not very good because he just doesn't really say anything. I don't know how the UFC is going to market him when he becomes like, if he beats Aldo, right? Like, he lines himself up really nice against a lot of fighters and he's ranked already. But
what's his rank?
What is he ranked? I don't know what he's ranked. Let me see. UFC rankings. All right. But Martinez, man, like I like him a lot. I think he has a great style, and he's getting the massive opportunity right now, man.
It's definitely a situation of like young potentially eating the old. Yeah. And the thing is as well is like, if this is Aldo's last fight, I mean, I know the UFC is, you know, having him have that last fight in his Rio, home in Rio and everything, but it's also like, it's not like the most send off of fights. You know what I mean? Like, they're still putting him in with like a proper killer.
Yeah, there's a high chance that Jonathan Martinez goes in there and leg kicks Aldo. That would be insane to watch, right? In his hometown.
Oh man.
Martinez is ranked number 12 right now. Cruz was number 11.
Oh, okay.
It is number 11. But Jose Aldo, man, this is a dangerous fight for him, dude.
Yeah.
I hate to say that. Usually I don't make picks off like, most of the time my picks are off just like the vibe. Seriously. That's why a lot of my picks are wrong. Because it's off the vibe, right? Like, did I just say like Steve Erceg? I just explained to you why I picked Steve Erceg. Because it was the whole storm, right? Like, and I think Jose Aldo is making a mistake. At 37 years old in the bantamweight division, it might be a major mistake, man. And I think it is. I think Jonathan Martinez goes in there and just really, unless the moment gets to Jonathan Martinez, then that's a different story. Because, you know, those things can really affect a fighter. Like, if you talk to fighters, it does affect them. Like, the moment does affect them. Like, going in there and fighting in the apex after you've been fighting in front of crowds, it does kind of mess with you a little bit. Because just you're so used to this environment, and then that environment is gone. Yeah. And now you got to do the same thing without the environment that you want.
Without that hype.
Yeah, without the hype, right? Some people love that stuff. Aldo, man, he's, like you said, he boxed 3 times. His last boxing match was in July of last year. And then he had a boxing match against Jeremy Stevens last year. So last year, he spent the whole year boxing. Yeah. He retired in 2022 after the Merab fight. Yeah. Then went boxing last year, and now he's returning. I don't think cage rust or anything is going to be a factor in this fight. But speed, age. These are all things that are major factors in fighting. And I think Jonathan Martinez goes in there and take care of business against Jose Aldo. And I hate to say this, though. Yeah,
to be honest, it's like bittersweet because obviously I love seeing Aldo fight. But I also think that he's coming back for a send-off. I just don't know if we're going to get it. I don't really see us getting it.
They should have, if they knew that they were going to go to Rio, they should have been trying to make this fight happen behind the scenes months and months and months ago, right? But they, you know, the UFC, they did to Shogun. Shogun fought back in Brazil, his retirement fight against some guy that nobody really knew and got knocked out. Yeah. The UFC don't give a fuck. Hey, you guys know what I think about the UFC. Like, UFC don't give a shit about the fighters, right? I've said that in front of you guys so many times.
The only one that got like a proper send-off was Lawler.
Yeah, because, Lawler. And then there was a couple guys, but it was just like, man, most of the time they're just not giving proper send-off. But there's no proper send-off in fighting.
No, in fighting.
There's always a risk if you fucking lay flat on your face on the canvas while the other guy that nobody really knows too much about is celebrating. And now you just become a sad, like, sob story how to not to end your career. Yeah. That's what happened to Shogun.
And that's the thing, like, not that Jonathan Martinez isn't great. He is. But it's in a situation where, you know, Merab is #1 contender, and I personally think probably the next bantamweight champion. And even though it was a loss, I do feel like Aldo should have kept it done there, right? But I also have a thing like, when you say you're retired, just stay retired. Yeah. Like if you're playing with the idea of wanting to be retired, maybe you should just stay retired. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know what the reasoning is behind him taking this fight.
He had one more fight on his contract, and it's Rio.
And I think, like, if it's that scenario, he had one fight left on his contract. It's in Rio. The UFC offered it to him. After this fight, he's a free agent. He can do whatever he wants. Then I understand, because now he's a valuable commodity. He could go box. He could go do grappling matches. He could do whatever he wants, and the UFC is not holding him back from it.
Also, if it was against Cruz originally, that would have been a really interesting, cool legacy fight, right? Yes. They both were the two that came in as champions of their respective divisions and everything. It would have been super interesting, but now it's an up and coming killer, and I just think the story's changed now.
Oh, for sure, it is changed, and I think that this is not going to be a good ending. But I would love it if Jose Aldo went in there and performed like he did against like Renato Moicano or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, the heart says.
Because remember that fight really, like, he was like really emotional after he won. Because I think that fight, he was really doubting himself if he's still good enough to fight in the UFC. And he proved it against Moicano. I think, I hope that moment happens again where he just, like, he can jump out the climb over the cage and jump out into the crowd and just celebrate
and
with
get
his people.
fined 5,000.
Yeah, no, Brazil won't care.
Yeah,
They don't have commissions. But
what's a commission?
yeah, it's like you're the commission. So I hope it happens that way. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. But I'm thinking that it's not going to happen. I think Jonathan Martinez is, man, he's just good.
Yeah.
And if Aldo tries to wrestle, he can wrestle too, because he showed it in the Nurmagomedov fight,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
Jonathan Martinez, I say he wins a decision.
I see that too. Yeah.